Almost all of the new stuff in InDesign CS6 is designed directly for digital display, talking about on an iPad or a Kindle or an Android device or something like that. So we're going to start taking a look at it. The first thing we're going to play with is what they call the liquid layout. And basically it's designed so if you turn your iPad or if the screen changes size, that the content will kind of reposition itself so it all still works. You notice that on the screen here I've got some content already. I've got more than I can fit inside this one little text box, so I'm going to go ahead and make another one. I'll load up my little text gun here, and I'm going to put the rest kind of right here, so now I've got two of them. And maybe I'll put a picture inside here. I'm going to move the picture over, and you notice that it's on top of the text. Now if the layout's going to reposition itself, you're going to have to be able to have the text kind of flow around images. So it is important that you use text wrap if you're going to do the liquid layouts. Text wrap is found under the window pull-down menu, so I'm going to go up to window and turn on text wrap. Make sure I've got my little image clicked here, and I'm going to say, hey, text wrap around there. And you know what, let's put some space over on the side, so I can give myself a little bit of room here. Maybe going just not so much room on the top. I have a little more room on the side, and maybe a little more underneath. And that's how I'm going to kind of start. Alright, tell you what, get yourself in InDesign, make yourself a new iPad layout, put some text in it and an image like this. Set up the image so that it has text wrap applied to it. Remember, you can find the text wrap panel in the window pull-down menu. Alright, now that we've got something all set up nice like, I'm going to close that up. And there's a whole new liquid layout panel that I'm going to open. It's under Window, down to Interactive, and the one that we want is Liquid Layout. So it's Panel to Interactive to Liquid Layout. I'm going to dock it over on the side here so that I don't really have to cover everything up while I'm messing around. Alright? On this Liquid Layout panel, you're going to come along and decide how the different elements are going to resize. And now you're going to use this page tool over here to actually resize the page. For example, right now if I make the size smaller, you see it all getting smaller and everything's going all kind of crazy. Alright, when I let it go it pops back. So here's how I'm going to work it. There are a couple that you're not really going to use too much, but we might as well look at them anyway. If I come in here, you've got, hey, scale, which basically means if the page gets smaller, everything gets smaller. I guess that could work out pretty well. Recenter means if I change the page size that everything stays centered. It doesn't resize, it just stays centered. I don't know when you use that either. Really, the one that you're going to use is this object-based one. And here's how it works. What we're going to do is we're going to come in and say, alright, here's how each object should perform while something is changing size. So I say, alright, I'm going to set object base. Maybe I'll click this picture. And I'm going to say, you know what, it's okay if both the height and the width of this picture resize. And I'm going to pin it to the left-hand side. Which means that if the page resizes, the image will resize too. And it'll stay pinned from the distance that it is right now on the left-hand side. If I resize the page, you see how the picture kind of frames itself so it gets smaller and smaller, and notice that it's still pinned onto the margins. Alright, so basically what you end up doing is just going around and doing it to all of those. So maybe I'll click on what makes us better up on the top, and I say, alright, I'm going to allow it to resize its width but not its height, and I'm going to pin it to the top and to the left and right, but not to the bottom. So now when it resizes, notice the bottom is changing size. It's kind of going into the next line and wrapping around everything, but the top and the left and the right are pinned where they used to be. And on this third one, I'm going to give it a click. And I'm going to say, alright, you will also be object-based. I'm going to allow you to resize the height and the width if necessary. I'm going to pin you to the left and the right, and I'm going to pin you to the top, which means it'll keep the same proportions. Basically what will end up happening is if the stuff up here ends up moving down, it'll push that out of the way. See what's going on here? Now look, it all looks just as good, right? But notice that the text isn't resizing, it's just repositioning it itself. You alright? Try that yourself. Open up the Liquid Layout panel. It's under Window, down to Interactive, to Liquid Layout. click each element and set it to object based. You can lock it to the sides, the tops, wherever, and you can tell it if it's going to resize itself or not, and in which direction it'll do that. Play around with it some. Make sure you use this page tool to resize the page so that you can see what would happen if the page resizes in a real world environment.